Hey guys, how's it going? Kulprit here, and today I'm bringing you guys something a little bit different. We wanted to talk about Medal of Honor Warfighter, so what we did here is we did basically a Tri-Comm with myself, MassNERDerer, and CloudedTruth. Now, most of you guys should know MassNERDerer. We've collaborated on a bunch of stuff before between the podcast and other videos, that type of thing. But CloudedTruth is a good buddy of mine. He plays on the PS3. He does a lot of Battlefield 3 footage on his channel, and he's also going to act here as our resident Medal of Honor 2010 expert. Because as you guys know, I didn't play any Medal of Honor 2010. I only just recently bought it last couple of days. I played like an hour or two to just get some impressions, get my feet under me a little bit. MassNERDerer is kind of the same way. He didn't play very much, so we needed someone that could legitimize the discussion and knew what the heck they were talking about, quite frankly. So what we did here is I'm going to have the first segment. In the first segment, we're going to talk about Medal of Honor Warfighter, obviously, and we're going to talk about the classes, which ones appeal to us, which ones we see each other playing, and which ones might be worried about some of the characteristics of those classes and which ones stand out to us. Then part 2 is going to be hosted on CloudedTruth's channel, and there we're going to talk about the kind of controversial topic of score chains. Now, this one is obviously the most foreign to us as Battlefield 3 players. Some of us have come from a little bit of a Call of Duty background. Most of us, I think, has tried Call of Duty, so you're aware of kill streaks and things like that. So we discussed the differences between the Call of Duty kill streaks and the Medal of Honor score chains. Some of our concerns, what we think will happen, how we think it'll work, because a lot of it's conjecture. We don't have a lot of information on that, so it's really just us kind of discussing things. And then part 3 is going to be hosted on MassNERDerer's channel, and there we're going to talk about the game modes. Now, the game's not, as far as we know, shipping with a lot of game modes, but the ones they are including are intriguing. They're just a little different than what we're used to in Battlefield 3. Hotspot for me kind of jumps out as the old headquarters in Call of Duty, which I'm kind of really looking forward to. Home Run looks like it could be a competitive style. We really won't know until we get in there, and we talk about that. So if you're at all interested in Medal of Honor Warfighter, you should definitely check this out. You should check out all 3. I'm going to link it in annotations. I'm going to link it at the end of the video. I'm going to link it in the description. But beyond that, I mean, if you're interested in and you enjoy my content, you enjoy Battlefield 3 content, you enjoy Medal of Honor content, you're looking forward to the game at all, please subscribe to these 2 guys. They're good friends of mine. We're actually going to be collaborating on a bigger project very soon. And, if you enjoy my stuff, you're going to enjoy theirs, so you're better off just subscribing to them straight away. With that said, guys, if you enjoy this format, the kind of a little bit of a round table discussion type thing, please let me know. Like it, favorite it, post in the comments. There can be plenty more of this, and maybe when the beta finally drops on Xbox, we can play for a couple days and we can get back together and we can do a sort of an impressions video. I think that would be pretty cool. It's fun sometimes to work with other people, especially people you get along with. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring you the video. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care. Alright, so the first thing we want to talk about today is the classes in Medal of Honor Warfighter. So far, what we know about them is there's going to be the Point Man class, the Sniper class, Heavy Gunner class, Spec Ops class, Demolitions class, and the Assaulter. Each are going to have their own kind of, kit out of loadouts. They're going to have their own, score chains, perks, whatever you want to call them. So we just want to talk a little bit about what we're looking forward to in these and which ones we might be playing the most. So I was just wondering, guys, if you guys had any thoughts right out of the bat.
Well, I've done a little bit. I've done a video already and talked a little bit about these classes and abilities. And I think overall, Battlefield 3, I was an assault guy all the way. Yeah, coming here, I'm still looking for that middle class. So for me, I'm thinking Point Man is definitely what I'm looking forward to. Mid-range, heavy hitters, extra damage, bullet magazine. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Clouded, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the same thing, except I do a little bit concerned with like Assaulter and Point Man class, because I know in Battlefield 3, like 90% of the people play Assault the most, and that's just kind of how it is. I mean, honestly, it's the best class in the game. But I think, besides those 2 classes, honestly, I think I'm looking forward to this, because in Medal of Honor 2010, the Spec Ops class, 95% of people ran that. So I think Warfighter, just looking at their abilities and what they can do, I think actually this is going to be a good variety, and you can use each class and really play to its strength and play whichever class you feel like, because they all have, their unique perks and abilities. And I'm really looking forward to that, because you can try a whole bunch of different classes out and see which one works.
Yeah, there's definitely on paper, there's a lot of variety, because I mean, myself, I'm a little leery of Point Man, because I don't know if you guys saw, I've seen some of the alpha footage. That recoil is a bitch. it hits pretty hard. I'm kind of eyeing the Spec Ops, because I love to move, I love to rush, so that added speed is really nice. I have no idea what the Spec Ops vision is going to be. That that remains to be seen. But the extra movement speed I believe they get, which I think would be pretty handy. I think we talked about in the pre-show we talked about the grenade launchers on the Assaulter. I don't know, if they're a good tool, they could be a huge tool. But if they're too powerful, I'm going to shy away from them just because I don't like to do that. But like we said, we all ran Assault in BF3, and I think there's at least three classes here that jump out at us as possible replacements. So it's pretty interesting, but it's hard to get away from that extra damage at the same time.
You know, and looking at the one thing I'm worried about, well, not worried about, but I think some people should be worried about is the sniper, because the maps I'm hearing are small. So I guess if we think back, Clouded sort of our 2010 expert. Neither Kulprit or myself played it a lot. I own it. I have the multiplayer, but I don't play it often.
I've officially played it, but not much.
So Clouded, how was sniping? It was pretty powerful in 2010, isn't that correct?
Yeah, it was. When the game first came out, it was completely broken. The snipers, the bolt actions were a one-shot kill to the toe. It was anywhere on the body, it was a kill. And they patched it on the PC and PS3, but Xbox never got it, which I still don't know why.
Wow.
But they finally fixed it to where it was like a one-shot kill. They tried to do some kind of range as far as like to the chest or whatever, and it just for me they became non-existent, except on people that want to camp on the combat missions. For any of you guys that played 2010, I mean, the Helmet Valley is like the worst map ever for snipers because all they do is camp because you never can find them because there's so many rocks. But other than that, the snipers were pretty underpowered for bolt actions. But the semi-autos were actually decent. I mean, it was a 2-hit kill at basically any range and a 1-hit kill to the head. So they were actually pretty fun to use. So.
And what about quick scoping? Is that a possibility? Was it a possibility?
Not really. Not in 2010. They were just. Okay.
I'm hoping they
for me, so I was horrible.
I'm hoping they sort of stick with some of that, and I'm thinking with small maps, I'm thinking people are definitely going to be interested in quick scoping.
Yeah.
But I'm not really a fan of it. And
me neither.
Probably because I can't do it. I get upset.
Me too.
I'm just like how'd you do that?
I have respect for those that can, but when someone does it to me in game, I rage. You shouldn't be able to do that. But
I don't know. I always get mad when I get quick scope. I don't know if it's because I can't do it. I'm jealous, or if I'm like, this is a cheap tactic. But it's probably a little both.
It just to me doesn't seem like it should be able to happen. But if I watch a YouTube video, I can respect the guy. Like, wow, okay, that's skillful. Yeah, anybody. But I'm not sure what the enhanced minimap is going to be. That could be a huge tool. It could be. I don't know.
What I think I've heard is it zooms in on your local area, so I don't actually think it's as good as I was thinking originally.
Is it like a radar sweep, or is it
I don't think it does anything else. It just zooms in a bigger minimap when you're bipoded. So one class I was sort of curious about, and I've heard some people sort of complaining, and I don't know if it's bad or good, but the bipod with the sniper, they're sort of thinking that's going to force you to stay still and maybe encourage camping. My opinion there is sort of, if you can get some sight lines and still get some good action, I think that's good for the sniper. It's sort of how it's supposed to be played. I put that in like quotes because I don't know. I don't snipe much, but I'm sort of. What's your guys' thoughts? Is bipod encouraging camping, or maybe good?
I don't personally like bipods, and I think they do. I think it breaks the flow of the game, but that's not my style. So it's easy for me to say that. I'm a runner. I'm a rusher. I like to move. I hate, and this goes for, a support class in BF3 and the heavy gunner kind of in this game, in Medal of Honor. I wish they wouldn't have bipod on either. I see why they do, obviously, but to me it encourages, not fun play in my eyes. But that's me speaking personally, not as a game designer. So
yeah, I mean, I think they have their uses, but at the same time, there's some like maps in Battlefield 3 where there's just too many choke points, and the corridor is so small. If you get one guy with the bipod, he can hold down an entire corridor by himself. And if that happens in Medal of Honor Warfighter, then the bipod it becomes just ridiculous. At least for me, because how at least in Battlefield their accuracy goes through the roof when they have a bipod out for light machine guns. So as long as they don't make maps that are really choke pointy and have only one passageway you can go down to get to an objective, I don't think they're going to be as bad, because you can only use them when they're set up and only for a certain area. I don't know how much their head's going to be able to swivel back and forth, but I don't see as much of a problem as long as they don't make the map so small to where all a support or a heavy gunner in this situation just has to do is put his bipod down somewhere and right next to the objective, and the guys just have to run at him, then that's the only way.
Right. I think destruction helps there too. So this way, if someone's like dug in and he's bipoded from like a second-story window or something, if it's indestructible, you're really SOL. It's not much you can do. But Bad Company 2, you take the building down. And so it's tough. And like he said, I totally agree. It's more game design, map design than it is the bipod or the sniper or the LMG itself. But some maps it's not a problem and it works fine. But other maps it could really be frustrating. So I mean that remains to be seen, obviously.
Yeah. What about this tank mode? What are we thinking there? I mentioned this in my video, and I actually got like very controversial. I mean, I knew I was going to when I compared it to Juggernaut.
You said the J word, yep.
How can you not compare it to that?
No,
it
it's absolutely
it's gonna be as bad, but it's a tank mode. He gets extra armor, and we've seen it. His screen gets blurry, and I think from the alpha gameplay on your channel, Kulprit.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't seem. Did he seem too overpowered to you? I don't know. What's your thought?
It's hard to say because I think in that video a lot of the guys are shooting at him with like pistols and stuff, so it's really hard to like be like he took a square shot, he took a clip from an M16, but I just tend to not. I think then we're getting into the cheese side of things. I think it's almost like they're trying too hard to differentiate. Like, is anybody really going to run around in a war zone like that? That's just me though. I don't see a problem. It could easily be balanced. I don't think it's a class I'll play. But I could see myself playing it to make a video or two.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't have any allure to me. I'm a speed guy, so that moving that slowly would drive me nuts. And, I mean, if you're a smart player, you can deal with them. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's not to where his guns or whatever he has or even armor is just ridiculous, I don't see a problem with it. Because just from watching the gameplay, I mean, he didn't move that fast.
Nah,
so as long as you can just basically get out of the way, take a couple shots at him, and if he tries to turn around and move around a building and come around a different way, as long as he's, once again, his armor's not too much or he's not moving too fast considering how much armor he has or anything like that, I don't see a problem with it whatsoever.
Yeah. Now I'm just reading down the list here, so I was unaware of this. Scott, I think you might have actually mentioned this in your video now that I'm reading it. The Assaulter, the M32, it's going to be semi-automatic? What does that mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if this is just like...
I think it was I've heard someone talk.
Yeah,
it might have been
I
your
talked
video.
about it, and I don't know if they really mean semi-auto.
That's scary.
What a semi-auto means, that thing you can just, every time, as fast as you can pull the trigger, it goes out. But you are limited to 2.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're not going to get a full clip, but
you get 2 grenade launchers, or still being able to shoot out 2 back to back.
Yeah, right at the ground. You take.
And I heard they were powerful in the beta, but they are not the. I guess the beta is not officially out, but the beta version has already been made and people have played it. And I've heard it was pretty powerful, but that's supposedly getting fixed. So.
Wow. Yeah, that's concerning there. That could be. I don't know what the love affair is with 320s, especially when you don't have destruction and things like that. But every game seems to have them in there. But yeah, they got to be sure on that balance. That's for sure.
Yeah, as long as it's not like the Modern Warfare 2 with NoobTube or whatever. I didn't play the game. That's all I heard. People
that's exactly
about NoobTube. So
that's exactly where my fear comes from. I mean, even Black Ops was just as bad, So I mean,
as long as it's not that. I don't see much of a
problem. Yeah, I saw a launcher and I didn't have too big a problem. Then I just read now the semi-automatic, and that definitely made my stomach drop a little bit. So I guess just to wrap this segment up, let's just go around and what I know you guys touched on it again, but what's the class you guys think you're probably playing the most right out of launch day, assuming we all get it?
Probably go first.
Yeah. The first thing I'll probably go to is either Point Man or just Spec Ops. Just the Spec Ops vision. There you can look for enemies close by for pretty fast period of time. That could be great for flanking, and especially on these maps when people are still really cautious. Having that just extra vision to see around the map and find flank routes or something like that you can go to. I think that could actually give you an advantage just to start out, and I'm looking forward to playing it.
I've said it many times. Point Man's definitely my go-to. I'm hoping he's my go-to. I'm hoping it works out well for me. But I always love using LMGs. I'm not the best with them, but I have a ton of fun with them. So Heavy Gunner sounds exciting. And then I'm definitely going to want to try out tank mode because I didn't play Modern Warfare 3 enough to ever get a Juggernaut or even try. I don't know if I had a Juggernaut equipped or whatever you do on that game. I don't know how it works.
It's more curiosity though,
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be trying out Demolition. I might even hit it first just so I can be like, try to get that tank mode and be able to talk about it. But
yeah. For me, I'm with Cloud on it. I'm going Spec Ops because I think Spec Ops vision, or what you want to call it, camper vision. I mean, that's gonna be a huge tool. I don't know how what the refresh rate on that is gonna be or how that exactly is gonna work, but if you can keep that up a good portion of your time, I mean, that could be dominating, But with that, I mean, I don't read it here, but I read you're going to get increased movement speed. That could be lethal. I mean, especially on small maps like that where you can't stand still. There's just too much going on. So that to me is the one that jumps out. Obviously, Point Man, it's just going to be a matter of I'm not the most accurate guy to begin with, so I don't know if I'm going to be really able to control that recoil. So for me, it's definitely looking like Spec Ops will be the one I click first on that first round.
So that wraps up segment 1 on the classes, guys. Remember to go to CloudedTruth's channel, watch part 2 on score chains, and then follow that up by going to MassNERDer's channel and watching the conversation on game modes. Once again, guys, I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.